Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back. This is Donna Sharp with Holistic Wellbeing. Thank you so much for joining me here on day 526. As you know, I've recently switched over to my fan page here at Holistic Wellbeing. For far some time now, I've been on my personal page and just sharing some great insights, highlights with individual as it pertains to my background, which is a holistic and wellness life coach. So if you don't know who I am your holistic and wellness lifetime coach, and part of what I do is discuss with people how they can possibly transform their mind, their body, their spirit. All of that works together to make the person a whole. So what I've been doing this past month, I truly believe that it's not just about your nutrition. It's not just about the way you exercise, but there's multiple things that comes together to make you a complete person. A lot of times people try to piecemeal things and they do one thing that they think is good, and the other things they may do it or they may not do it. But for the most part, when you are collectively bringing different things together in your life, it ultimately defines who you are as a person. So the past month, I had been speaking on, it may be slightly over a month now, I have been speaking on how you can foster better relationship with your children to develop better traditions with them. When they grow older, you should be able to look back at your children and see what it is that you poured into them to give them a steps in their life that they can take into their own family and grow through it. All right. So if there's some missing links and they're having to go outside to search information, then it should be questionable on your part as a parent. So I'm going to encourage you, if you didn't get a chance to see any of the lives, several of them are on my personal page. It's just recent that I moved over here, but you can continue to follow me right here if you wish and move forward, or you can go back and watch those lives again. So this evening, what I'm going to be speaking on is the BF program, and I'm speaking from a book that talks about how to create strong families. The values, the attributes that this attracts is values, responsibility, responsibility, individuality, and guidance. And you'll see why as I go through it. It touches on those points that I just mentioned, because those particular points in this section is what you want to bring to life, to highlight, so that when your children have something to take away, they can go back and say, you know what? Based on that section that was discussed, I learned to grow, to understand the values that my parents taught me and take it into my adulthood. And the reason is because ... This is what's going to allow me to. And let them decide what they're going to take from it and grow with it. Now, if they don't understand, you want to always make sure you bring clarity to it, because at that point, they will be able to become young adults and they're going to look back and remember. I remember the time my mommy told me that manners was a good thing. It's always good to say good morning, good afternoon, how can I help you, and greet people the right way. You know, it's so funny. I'll tell you a quick story before I go into this section. It's relatively short. Is that I address individuals often by Mr., Mrs. And what I find is adults sometimes don't want me to call them Mr. or Mrs. They say, you know what, you don't have to call me that. You can just call me Bob or Jim or Sue or Mary. This is just part of who I am. This is how I was brought up in my Caribbean culture. And for me, it's just a respect factor. It doesn't matter your age. All right. It's just a way for me to be courteous to you. So never ever take offense when someone addresses you in that manner. You know, some younger adults, they don't want you to address them as Mrs. So-and-so. There's Mr. There's like, you don't have to call me that. Just call me by my name. They get really upset, really uptight, right? But it's not always about that. It's something that we call values that a lot of times is instilled in us, and we take it forward to the next level. And the thing is, because some people may not necessarily be brought up that way, they may not understand it. But it doesn't mean that you have to back down on what you believe in either. All right. So this section is called the BF program. And as I mentioned, it speaks on value, responsibility, individuality, and guidance. So my question to you is, how do you become better parents? How do you become a better parent? What is it that you have to instill in your children that's going to determine who you are as a parent? All right. Is there a particular book, a code of parent book that you have to meet qualifications in order to determine, are you doing the right thing or not? All right. The right thing is determined by many things. It's not only on what you learn as you're growing up and trying to decide, that you want to become a parent, right? It's just a little bit of common sense mixed in with it. Sometimes things just make sense or they don't. Okay. And those are the things we have to learn to pull from in addition to what we learn in order to develop that full-fledged gamut of what it looks like to be a nice parent to your children, right? So, Benjamin Franklin had a marvelous personal tradition designed to help him improve his own character and values. That's the BF. In case you're wondering, what's BF? It's not best friend, guys. I know you're probably thinking right now, those little acronyms that you learn on social media, you're probably saying BF, oh, best friends. No, not tonight. So Benjamin Franklin had a marvelous personal tradition designed to help him improve his own character and values. He selected certain words such as punctuality, candor, right, that describe character traits he desired and concentrated on them at a time, one at a time. So those are the things that he tried to master as he was growing into his young adult and becoming a full-fledged adult. What are those things I'm going to take away and add to, or learn from, use, and make it consistent, right? So we sometimes forget that we become better parents not by changing our children, but by changing ourselves. So many times individuals try to change the other person. You ever hear them say, oh my gosh, I just love him to pieces, or I love her to pieces. I'm just going to change her when I get married. That's not how this works. Remember, there's a saying that says you can't teach old dog new tricks. Sometimes you may be able to, but when someone's set in their ways and they have a certain way of doing things, I'm going to encourage you that change is not going to be as easy, especially if it's years and years of embedded complacency with the person. It's going to be very difficult for you to try to tell them that they have to do things a certain way, because many other things expounds on that: personality, values, the things that they believe in, their character, what they will and will not do. All of those things take effect. So it's not just one thing that you can just flip a switch and all of a sudden a person is going to change based on what it is that you feel they need to change on. There's also another saying that says if a person tells you something, just believe them. Okay, because chances are they're telling you the truth. So not changing our children, but changing ourselves. Concentrate on changing who you are first, because when you change yourself, what you'll notice is that everything else falls suit. It's going to follow suit, one after the other. You're not going to have to worry about anything else because everything is going to line up, right? So concentrate on who you are. Try making up your own list of one-word character traits that would make you a better parent or a better spouse. One list, character change. I'm sure there's some things you're probably thinking about right now that you're probably just knocking them off on the list, right? And maybe it's things that you struggled with over the years that you've always wanted to change. Maybe there's some things you've seen in other people that you admire that you wish you were able to change. I don't know, just food for thought, right? So try making up your own list of one-word character traits that would make you a better parent or a better spouse. Go through your list mentally every other day, or as you do, sometimes you do something routine, such as shave or shower, run, exercise, drive to work, etc. And so you want to go over these words in your head over and over and over again. I'm sure there's many things you desire to change in your life, and you're always saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Well, my question is, are you putting a timeline on it? Or are you just haphazardly going along and saying, one day it's just going to happen? Many of my lives consisted of how to create SMART goals. And so many people create a plan of action, a goal, but they never put a timeline to it, right? So guess what? It doesn't become serious. It just becomes something on a piece of paper. I give you credit. You got to start, and you got somewhere, but you have to finish it. And when you do that and you set it up properly, you'll notice that you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Otherwise, you'll have no ending to whatever this goal is that you're trying to achieve, all right? So anything that you do that's natural, that you do every day, you shave, you shower, you run, you drive, whatever it is, you go over these terms in your head. Remember, a lot of things that we do in life are buried in our subconscious. And when we don't pull it out from that subconscious level, it's because a couple of things. We chose to bury it because we don't want to deal with it, right? Maybe it's something that we just don't want to bring to memory because it was painful. And these things happen, But when you have those words, those character traits that you're trying to change, and you're constantly verbally mentioning them over and over again, you'll all of a sudden notice that things are starting to come about. A change is starting to come because you're becoming more comfortable with it. You're finding ways to incorporate it in your schedule, right? You're dealing with it because it's at the forefront of your mind. Just like a lot of things are pulled back from our mind because we don't want to remember it. And you'll see that it becomes much easier as you're beginning to change your ways a little bit for the better. You definitely don't want it to be for the worse, right? So as you think about each of the words, think about times when it has described you, when you have behaved as though you had that trait, and recommit yourself to it. I'm going to read you a story. In this book, they typically have a story, and what it does, it just fine-tunes exactly what I spoke on. And it just allows it to make more sense. Some people are very visual, audible, many different ways that they learn. And sometimes when you read a story and you tie in exactly what I just spoke on, it just makes more sense. So here we go. Very short. Years ago, I decided I had an alert. I had to start jogging a couple of times a week if I was going to stay in a semblance of shape. The trouble was jogging was so boring. Then I came across the BF idea. I thought of a certain wannabe word, things I wish described me as a father, consistent, confident, calm, and a husband, patient, partner, or as a person, serendipity, stewardship, and started reciting these words mentally and thinking about them as I jogged. It made the exercise less boring and focused my mind a little bit more often on what I wanted to become. But keep in mind that as you're doing this, all it's doing is embedding it exactly where it needs to be. Hello, Kim. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Great to see you. It embeds things in your mind exactly where it needs to be, and it keeps it there at the forefront. So as you go to use it in the future, you know that it will come to life. And all of a sudden, your actions are going to accommodate those thoughts that you have at the forefront of your mind. As they mentioned here, stewardship, patience, partner. And all of a sudden, you keep playing this over and over again. You're like, patient. Wow, I'm a patient person. I'm a patient person. I'm a patient person. Patience. And so, and in many aspects, as you're going throughout your daily life, you're going to see that pops up. And you're going to have no other reason than to deal with it because it's right there at the forefront of your mind. So remember, try never to bury those things that you want to bring to life. Keep it at the forefront. Keep it at the conscious part of your brain, right? Don't bury it into the subconscious. Definitely don't put it down in the unconscious because you'll never find it. It's like a trunk and you throw things to the bottom. It's going to take a while before you gather it and bring it to the top, right? And then just see how well you're able to try this Benjamin Franklin method and bring those things to light, to the forefront of your mind, and it's allowing you to change and just alter slightly who you are. Things that you desired, you wish you were. Now you have a chance to work more on it because you're focusing more on these one character words. But remember, you have to repeat it. It's like that affirmation you're saying over and over again, and all of a sudden you find yourself singing it like it's nothing because guess what? Your mind has now absorbed that piece of information. You remember when I did the whole live on the brain eons ago? This is 520 lives. I did a whole segment on the brain. All right. The brain has different sections. And so there's certain parts of it that retains information and certain parts that will let it go. And the brain is absolutely phenomenal. So I would tell you what live that was, except it was so far back ago, you have to go dig. But I will tell you that all of my lives are going to be on YouTube after a while. I've already started that process. So you'll be able to go back and kind of check out different one at your own leisure. As I mentioned, I will no longer be on my personal page. So thank you for joining me on my fan page as we're progressing ahead and moving into a different scenery here, so to speak, so you guys can continue getting some information. And of course, I would encourage you, if you have some involvement in or know anyone who's interested in receiving coaching sessions, that's what I do. I teach individuals how to care for themselves from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, and also to nutritional standpoint, and how to take care of your body so that that one temple that you have will survive and last the way you wish it would. All right. So if you love what you heard tonight, I'm going to encourage you to share this live with someone else. Please hit the share button. Try not to tell them about it because you're going to butcher it. You're going to give them a piecemeal thing, and then they're going to look at you and say, so what was the other part? Tell me more about the other part. And you're not even going to remember. So just send them the whole thing. But beyond that, I'm going to encourage you to love what you heard tonight. And log on to my website. It's holisticwellbeing.com with a W, WHOLELISTIC wellbeing.com. And there you can find out why I'm so passionate about what I do. So I will be back again tomorrow. I thank you guys so much for joining. We're almost at the end segment of this book, so I'm just working to finish it out because we've already started the process. I've taught you all on how to create strong families. So if you did not gather anything from this by now, I don't know what to tell you. But we have a few more pieces to talk about throughout the remainder of the book. I'm going to continue until I finish, and then we'll move on to something new. So Kim, thank you for joining, and anyone else that's joined this live later on. I do appreciate you guys' support. And I'll see you back again here tomorrow discussing some more from how to build and create strong families. So until then, my name is Donna Sharp. I am with Holistic Wellbeing, and I'm your holistic and wellness life coach. And I'll see you guys back again here tomorrow. Take care and have a fantastic evening. Ciao.